Julie, thanks so much for coming in the studio. It's good seeing you again.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. All right, so we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, including your piece at Acculturated, celebrities and their terrible non-problems. How dare you, Julie, microaggress against our cultural betters? You don't know. You've not walked a mile in their perfectly,
Expensive shoes.
handcrafted heels.
Bespoke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you know about these celebrities?
What do I know?
Gwyneth Paltrow is an amazing woman.
Sadly, I know very little about what
sad.
it is. It is. She is sad. Yes. I am so enjoying beating up on celebrities and celebrity culture. It's really fun. And I think, look, it's sort of, it's kind of silly, and I laugh at a lot of the things that they say, but there is some seriousness to this, and they tend to focus on things that just really are not problems. I talked about this whole, I don't know if you're following this, but the Kelly Ripa, Michael Strahan brouhaha, because apparently he got another job and didn't give her adequate notice. I mean, the level of media coverage on this, it's Nixonian. It's like a Nixonian level scandal. And she's just appalled, and she's hurt, and she's angry, and he's sort of nervous. And I mean, the media really feeds this stuff. And I just talk about how editors actually think this stuff is important. Arianna Huffington, sort of a favorite subject of me lately, is again using her publication, The Huffington Post, to highlight a non-problem. She thinks that sleep deprivation. Now, I've been sleep deprived for, how old is my oldest child? He's 9. So I've been sleep deprived for 9 years. Okay. I really have not slept much in 9 years. I deal with it. And actually, some research shows that it's not the major problem that it is. Yet Arianna Huffington wrote a book about it and has dedicated a whole column to the Huffington Post for it. So again, I think for the average American, they sort of see these things and they go, "Is this really?" It's not a problem. You're not crazy. This is wealthy people and Hollywood actresses who think these are problems.
But this is, what you're, I think, describing here is a relatively new phenomenon, but it's playing itself out in all kinds of ways. We see this in politics, too. It is the contempt for the audience, right? Usually artists require an audience. Otherwise, they're starving artists. If you don't have a mass audience, then you have a patron. We live in a culture where supposedly the mass of the people, we're the audience, but we're really not the audience. I mean, we're the advertisers' audience, right? They sort of want us to keep watching, but they're not trying to impress us or please us or, really even entertain us. They're trying to entertain their friends.
Yes.
And it's a very chummy club. And it's become, I think, very apparent this year just how chummy the club is and how much contempt a lot of these folks really do have for the people who allow them to make a living. We just had the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which is the annual gathering of, right? I love
so
instant
gross.
Reaction. Just
so gross.
Right? So I went, and here's the thing. I said, when I first moved to D.C., Jim Garrity was nice enough to give me an invite to one of the cocktail parties before the Correspondents' Dinner. I went 3 years, and it was neat the first time because, you're, wow, oh, look, and then it just, I don't know, it gradually became just less neat. Like, I don't know what it was. Maybe I'm wired wrong. But I think that we are getting a little tired of this. Yeah. Because it also, Julie, it's so blatant now. We've been talking this week about how the gun control movement is becoming very overtly involved in the creative process in Hollywood. So you saw the Amy Schumer sketch, right, on her Comedy Central show. But The Good Wife has also teamed up with the Brady campaign. There was a House of Cards had a tie-in with Everytown for gun safety. It's not even about, it's less about entertainment. It is lecturing. It is, here's how you're supposed to think. Here's how you're supposed to feel. And if you don't feel this way, then, we will hold you in contempt.
Yeah.
I think that is relatively new for Hollywood as an industry. We've always had these, jackass celebrities.
Right.
But this is sort of the industry giving the finger to the American people.
Yeah. You had, the left has always been much better at sort of capturing pop culture and leading changing American culture through by using pop culture. They have been just masterful at that. I think the right is slowly coming around, and is slowly starting to produce their own movies. And we've seen, I mean, look, the rise of alternative media is one way in which the right has really hit back on this. But we've got a long way to go, and and I find it very hard to keep up with all of this. And I see it in everyday, everyday interactions with other moms who are nervous about this or nervous about that. And part of that is because, they might be reading an entertainment magazine, or they might be seeing something on Huffington Post and think that this is a real issue. I mean, if we really want to take care, if Arianna Huffington was really concerned about the major problems, why does she talk about the collapse of the coal industry? Why doesn't she talk about the heroin problem in this country? And maybe it's the economic instability in those areas. Maybe there's a tie in there. I mean, it's so depressing to me that she has an incredibly powerful, it's not just her, it's the media in general. It used to be this industry that was interested in intellectual inquiry, and no longer. It is a vehicle for most journalists now. They either repeat what they see from either an activist organization or they sort of toe a party line, and the entertainment industry is more than happy to go along with that.
No, but and you're exactly right. I mean, look, let's be honest here. The problems of Arianna Huffington are not the problems of America, right?
Right.
If Americans are suffering from sleepless nights, reading her book's not going to help unless it actually makes them fall asleep, because they're worried about what happens if the car breaks down. How am I going to pay for tuition if my kid wants to go to college? Is my job going to be here next year? I mean, that's what's keeping Americans up at night.
Yeah.
And Arianna Huffington's book, I don't think touches on those issues.
Yeah, you want to know why people aren't sleeping?
This is the
I mean, people aren't sleeping because they're freaked out. They're completely freaked out in this country. They're nervous. I mean, getting a better pillow is not going to really solve the problem. So,
But here's the thing. When I think Arianna Huffington probably started noticing that we had a real opioid problem in this country when Prince died.
Right. Exactly.
I bet that's when it sort of sunk into her,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Great point.
And so we've got people who, you're right, are in charge of these supposedly new and better institutions, media institutions, which, by the way, the American public doesn't like any more than we like the old institutions.
Right.
And they're really not delivering on their promise. That's the thing. They were supposed to be better. They're not.
Yeah.
It's all about the click views. It's all about, the eyeballs. And if it's... look, if the average website can make money being 90% fluff, 95% fluff, and maybe 5% content, that's the model that'll work, and that's the model that'll be adopted. And real solid information. Who cares about that? It's about the click.
I think there has been a true change, though, in our American culture. I really do. I think that I sometimes hear how many fans on Instagram that this particular starlet or model or someone has, or this person. I mean, and their ability to sort of sell a product or push an idea, it's astonishing to me. These people who are really have not much in terms of accomplishments in their life. So I do think, I understand that social media has changed things, but I don't, it's a little depressing to think of where this will go. And perhaps that's why, we're seeing the rise of people like Bernie Sanders, who promises free things. There's not much depth there. He just promises things. It sounds good. I think that this, we're just really starting to see the effects of this, of social media, the increasing influence of Hollywood elites and others. It's depressing.
It is. I would also just say that, I think we've sort of been here before. I think every time there's been this adoption of new technology, right? Radio, so people aren't reading anymore. They're just listening passively to what the candidates are saying.
Are you calling me a Luddite?
Television. Now all of a sudden... No, I'm not. But I'm saying that, honestly, here's the thing. I'm not sure that we've ever before sort of rejected the idea that history has anything to teach us as much as we have today. And I think you can, look, I think there are lessons to be learned from going back to when radio first impacted, politics and culture and television. And how did we change and how did we adapt? What did we lose? What did we gain?
Yeah.
But now... there does seem to be this idea that, well, history is stupid, Julie, because everybody who came before us, right? I mean, everybody who came, if you're not living right this very second, you're awful.
Yeah.
In some way. I mean,
Yeah.
you either, supported slavery, or you didn't want women to vote,
Right.
or you weren't down with gay rights. I mean, there's something inherently flawed with all of humanity before this particular moment. And
Yeah.
therefore, and you see this a lot among the snowflakes, they think they're the smartest human beings ever.
Right.
They have nothing to learn, and they have everything to teach.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's so scary, because unfortunately, there's a lot of ignorance wrapped up in that empty self-confidence.
Yeah, and it really is. I think we're starting to see, like I said, I follow a lot of sort of moms' opinions, and I look at how moms are reacting to things, and I think when certain Hollywood moms, certain stars present themselves as having a perfect life, and they suggest this particular type of parenting or this particular type of being healthy or diet. It really affects people profoundly. So I don't know. I hope I certainly don't expect any of the people I'm making fun of to read these pieces, but I hope it makes some moms sort of think twice about taking these sources seriously, particularly on important subjects like how to raise your kids. Right. Make her very nervous.
I think you made Gwyneth Paltrow cry. I think you made her very sad.
I'm sure she has a cure
And
for
look,
that.
and there you are laughing about that. You're just
So insensitive.
Julie Gunlock, so insensitive. Listen, I appreciate you joining us on the program. I have so many other stories that I could
I
chat with you
know.
about. We got to have you on for a full 3 hours at some point.
That'd be
But
fun.
have a fantastic rest of your week. Be kind and polite to everybody that you meet, and say hi to any law enforcement agents that you run into in any parking lots. All right.
They're all avoiding me now. They won't even come if if I have a problem.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I'm
That's
kidding.
not the case.
I'm kidding. All right. Thanks for having
You
me
don't
on.
want to get yourself in any more trouble. Thank you, Julie. Julie Gunlock joins us from the Independent Women's Forum. You can find them online at iwf.org.